Okay, let's make sure I can hear myself and it looks good. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the Hurley Investments midweek commentary. We are here today joined by my oldest, Tad. Tad, let's say hi and make sure it's loud so they can hear.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We are joined by my second oldest, Scott Hurley, who's actually not feeling well, and I've dragged him out of bed to be here today.
How's it going, guys?
And my third oldest, Jared, who is here today as well.
Hello.
So these guys are on a career day, and they get to follow their dad into the office. And as luck would have it today, I am heading out to travel. I've got some bad news, actually. We have a dear friend of mine who lost his sister rather unexpectedly, even though she's battled cancer. Pretty disappointing to hear that your sister has beaten cancer and is risk-free, or I guess cancer-free, but the fight drained it all out of her and she passed. So we're getting out of here tonight to be able to attend a funeral tomorrow. My boys are here on their career day, and our career day is being held at the beauty of my office at home. It's actually being held at the dinner table where we all eat. But I want to talk to you. This is the first time that we've been into this year. I usually will talk about today a little bit about goals. And in my life, goals have been something I've done for sports. It's been something I've done for school. It's been something I've done to keep me on track to accomplish something. My goals are usually posted in a couple different places. I'll post them somewhere in my notebook or my calendar where I keep track of my events. I'm not one that uses a calendar on an electronic device. I like to scratch things off. I like the satisfaction of saying, hey, I've accomplished something. I will put some goals, unfortunately for my wife. I tape them onto my bathroom sink so she sees those. I might have them one other place, by a bedside table, in my office on my whiteboard. There are a couple places where I put these goals out, and I place them where I can see them daily. I want it to be a reminder of what I committed to. So it's a reminder of my commitments that I made at the beginning of the year. Now, if you ask a friend of mine, he'll tell you, well, Kevin, goals are meant to be not attained. Goals are something you shoot for. You shoot for the stars and miss, but at least you're not aiming for a skunk and hit. It's something you put way out there in time that you aim for. And for him, in all intents and purposes, it's something he never plans to keep. It's something that he's decided he's okay with not achieving that goal as long as he makes some effort. And unfortunately, some effort usually is the first 3 to 4 weeks of the year. Hey, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to go join a gym. I'm going to go spend $250 for my membership, pay for it all up front. And you do really good setting that habit for 2 weeks. And then the third week you miss a couple, and the fourth week you miss a couple more. And by February you say, the hell with it. I like being fat. Who needs to lose a little extra weight? And we start to justify why we're okay with not completing our goal that just maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks earlier, it's what we were going to do. So when I set my goals, I usually look back to last year. And my goals are going to be set around 5 different categories. Obviously, since it's my job, I have financial goals. And my financial goals range everywhere from get out of debt to pay off a house to I don't know. They're financial. That's the short answer. One year it was buy a car or a truck. One year it was a van fund. They're financial in nature. They are money orientated. They are in regards to big purchases, increase in money I want under management, increase in the fees I get from money management, putting money away for kids. They're always financial in nature. unfortunately, because that's what takes up the bulk of my time in my life right now. My financials are ways that I'm going to have kids go to soccer camps, boys go to lacrosse, uh, a boy get his black belt, a boy be in a premier soccer league, a boy be in a not a premier. What's your soccer league? A club league, so he can match his, so he can get better prepared for high school tryouts. I've got a daughter that's in gymnastics. There's certain things that I look at that I before each month I've already allocated that money for. In fact, this has nothing to do with anything, but I had an extra $240 that's unaccounted for in my business checking account, which my wife would tell me, well, go move it over to the family because we can use it. The things we got to do. But it was just today I realized I set that aside for, it's to pay for a hotel that we haven't paid for a soccer tournament in Vegas this weekend over Martin Luther King holiday. So they're little things that I do financially that I set my goals for. I do have what I call some spiritual goals. There are goals that relate to my worship. There are goals that relate to service that I want to do. There are goals related to money that I give my church for tithing to be used for certain things. I also like to give generously, usually to a cause. A couple of years ago, we had the ALS tournament, the ALS bucket challenge where you poured cold water over your head. I'll be honest with you, I was seriously disappointed to see how many people poured water over their head, but gave no money. I was one that'd rather just give the money out. Last year, I had there were two different an Eagle Scout project and actually two Eagle Scout projects and a friend who was raising money for schools and people in Mexico. That, you know what, I made sure some money was donated to those events. So I have spiritual in there. I have financial, spiritual. I always have physical. And this is one where, for those of you who said, man, you just ripped on people going to the gym. Yeah, I know. Let's face it. I fall into this group where I set a lot of physical goals, and I'm going to say my excuse is I run out of time because I devote my time to the kids, to the Boy Scouts, to other activities that don't allow me to do the time physically that I want to. Financial, spiritual, physical. What other goals am I missing here, guys? Mental. That is correct. I have mental goals, which usually are a reading of certain books. There are certain things that I try to create as habits to help me get throughout the year. There are the mental goals that I have used to learn how to trade, to where there are certain types of trades that I won't do because mentally it's anguishing to see the trade lose money. There are mental goals that I have chosen to do to strengthen my mental fortitude into allowing positions to go a little bit longer based on past history or so forth that I've had with the company. It's what helped me get through Baidu last year and be down about $14 without protection before we saw the stock run up almost $100. Good answer. That was Jared that said, Dad, you have mental issues and mental goals that you have to take care of. And family goals yeah, that'd be a great way to put it. Those family goals are kind of inclusive in the financial, spiritual ones. But yes, we do have family goals. And for us, family goals are some of the things that we're going to do, such as last year we sat down with all 6 kids and my wife and I, and we sat down and we said, hey, this year, Taylor and Jordan, Taylor being a young man, the youngest boy, has an opportunity to be on a premier soccer league, which means I go to Vegas on Martin Luther King weekend, and we're off to a soccer tournament. We sat down our family, and kudos to my 3 older boys and the littlest girl, where we said, hey, Jordan could be going to Dallas, Texas for a gymnastics tournament for the regionals to be on the Junior Olympic squad. She could be to regionals in Anaheim to see if she can qualify for the Dallas gymnastics tournaments. I've got a daughter that's on the Junior Olympic track that could really go far, but that means, again, some big trips, some more money spent, coaching and so forth, that as I sat down with my family, kudos to my 3 older boys and said, you know what? We've done lacrosse. I've done soccer. I'm a black belt. Yes, we understand if less is going to be done for us this year and on a financial metric so that the 2 younger kids have their opportunity to have their day in the sun and to, for all intents and purposes, go after some of their dreams that they have that could be really big. So as you see, I usually set these goals up in regards to what I'm looking at doing. And believe it or not, I'm going to squeeze down to the bottom. As I was checking my emails, I ran into how to go from successful to very successful and why most people can't do it. And so I kind of got ticked off because I read this in the morning, and what they're saying is you have some success, and I will be the first one to toot my own horn. I feel that I have been successful. If you were to ask me, I'm going to run on a business here that's going to go on 10 years that for all intents and purposes, I think I have been successful in running a business that supports my family, that has me living where I want to live, that I've increased my standard of living. But as I rode into work, and this was going to be on last week, this was on January the 2nd, I think. No, I didn't go in. It was on the January 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. But I called my wife and I said, honey, I don't like this. I don't like that I'm setting goals, and I was literally just placing goals like, hey, I'm just going to put them to get them out of the way, yet I'm doing the same thing I did last year, the year before. My business, to a certain degree, has kind of stagnated the last 3 years. Haven't really grown it, haven't really lost it. The reality is I've grown some accounts that have been with me for a long period of time. I've had some people that have left. So my growth is making up for people that left, new people that come in. It just hasn't been where I wanted it to be. And I was here going to work thinking, my goodness, I'm doing the same old thing. As I'm looking at this little part, I'm going to highlight it for you. What stood out for me was, as you succeed in business, life doesn't get any easier, it gets harder. And I thought, well, kind of, but not really. It seems like I've had things a little bit easier. I haven't had to worry so much about making our bills. And then the second part was success is much harder than dealing with failure. And in all honesty, I completely disagree with that. Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. And that came from Abraham Lincoln. For most people, privilege is a poison. And again, I see it on a professional level with athletes. I stopped watching a lot of football games this year. In fact, if you ask my wife, over our 17-year marriage, this is probably the least amount of football that I've ever watched. And she looks at me, and I'm sure she probably thought, hey, are you okay? I've got a very generous wife that for all intents and purposes, allows me to do basically whatever the heck I want to do. If I'm way off in left field, she does rein me in. She says, hey, come on, pull your head out, think about what you're doing. But for the most part, I married a woman that hasn't changed me. She says, you know what? Do what you think you need to do that's going to best help the family. And she puts the pressure on me that I have to live up to her expectations of who she wanted to marry and what kind of provider she wants me to be. Sometimes those expectations, I don't want to say get overwhelming, but they weigh on me. Those expectations weigh on me. And I'll be honest with you, I think success is easier to deal with than failure. I think failure is very hard to deal with. And it's funny, as this article kept going, it talks about a subjunctive feeling, properly judging your success. It tells you nothing on how to go from successful to very successful. So at that point, I thought, you know what? I need to find ways that I'm going to improve my business this year. Do I need to spend more time with my advisors? Do I need to spend more money for my advisors to get more marketing out there? There are a lot of things I've thought about, and in all honesty, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I haven't come up with my goals yet. I thought they would, but I'm going to spend my time going over that on a couple of my trips, so I have them written down. But from the same group of people came an article, 13 things you should give up if you want to be successful. Someone once told me the definition of hell. I thought this was hilarious. On your last day on earth, the person you'll become, meet the person you could have become. That's their definition of hell. I think I can become a better person. I think I can become a better trader. I think I can make more money. You always are going to make little mistakes. But as I was going through some things, I see a mistake I made in 2015 on SanDisk, where SanDisk was not quite protected. It announced 3.5 weeks early that it was not going to meet their earnings. And I usually will protect in that 3 to 2 week period before earnings. They announced 3.5 that they weren't. I watched the stock fall $17 or lose 35% of its value overnight before I could even protect it. So, wake up call to Kevin. If I'm going to invest in an overseas company, in this case, a Korean company, a Chinese company, I usually will protect a little bit earlier than I do the U.S. companies because they can not follow the norm. They don't do things the way we do over here. And so I need to understand and treat those stocks accordingly. One of the things is give up on an unhealthy lifestyle. Dang it, here I have to get more sleep. I probably need to do some more physical activity. I'll probably need to drink some more Monster drinks since they're so full of good juices and everything. I need to give up my short-term mindset. I need to be able to look at my business at the start of the year for the whole year, and anytime during that period, I need to be in a habit that I look at my business without a short-term mindset. Give up on playing small. I've done everything I could to get some professional teams underneath me. I need to come to the point where I need to go big. I need to be willing to tell them, hey, if things haven't worked by now, we're not going to be a good fit. See you later. I need to give up excuses, give up the fixed mindset, which is kind of where I've been for 3 years. I've been doing things the same way. Of course, the market's been going up higher, so it's been pretty easy. But I do need to look at it a little bit different. If I know it's going to go up higher, why not put some long calls in place? Why not look at some ways they can take advantage of a tax advantage, tax reform, repatriation, a charged market to go higher? Give up believing in the magic bullet. Thank goodness I gave up on that one. There is no easy way to make money. It takes a lot of hard work. Give up your perfectionism. That's kind of funny because I don't consider myself a perfectionist, yet I do have some OCD tendencies. I'm looking at my boys here kind of going, Dad, I'm kind of bored just sitting here talking to you. What are some things that I do that's OCD that you think, really, Dad? My camping stuff. I like my camping stuff stacked in a certain area. I don't let my kids touch it. In fact, this was Scott that just said that. Scott's been stuck with me outside stacking wood. We've probably cut 15, 16, 18 cords of wood. Just yesterday, I was nagging on him. Don't stack the wood that way. You got to go there. You got to fix it. You got to make it so there's more can be stacked. Not only that, but I said, hey, we're doing some well. Let's make another pile. I know he loved that one. Tad, Jerry, there's some things you think that you just look at me and go, really, Dad? He goes, I keep my electronics. I keep all my electronic stuff. I guess it's a force of habit. My stuff for my business, I don't let my kids touch. They can't touch my cell phone. They can't touch my earphones. They can't touch my computers. I've got certain things that are business, money management, personal account management stuff that literally they're not allowed to touch. I take full responsibility for it, which means they're not allowed to even touch it unless I give them permission. And usually it's, hey, zip up my bag and don't touch it before I tell them where to put it. Jared, anything you think I do that's kind of OCD, with this perfectionism type of attitude? Oh, in fact, my kid's going to now pick on me. I guess I'm so OCD. We have a fire pit out in our corral where we more often than not on some Saturday, Sunday evenings, we'll light a fire, we'll cook some marshmallows, we'll just sit by the fire and talk, things we get to do as a family. And my kid just said, you're so OCD, you get pissed off on the way the rocks are lined up. And if we take a rock or whatever, you're going to notice and you're going to want it back, which is kind of funny. I guess that's just my habit forming skills that I have, that they're correct. There's some certain things that I think are habit forming, OCD, perfectionism that are just that way. Oh, my wife raised her hand. Drea, what's one of my oh, she doesn't want to talk. She's shaking. She's embarrassed. She's shy. She's blushing. So yes, there's just some things that I do that I think being able to repeat yourself are a way to be successful in the market. Number 8, give up on multitasking. I do see myself doing a lot of things that maybe aren't beneficial the way that I need them done. Give up on your need to control everything. Give up on saying yes to things that don't support your goals. That's a tough one. Give up on toxic people. That's a really hard one. Getting away from things that aren't taking you to your goals, even if they are a good friend. More often than not, this relates to my money managers and who I'm going to keep around and who I'm not going to keep around, because I can't just keep paying for their business without them, working. The good news is I've got 3 right now. Well, I got 2 right now, particularly, that are doing a fabulous job. Give up your need to be liked. I don't need to be your friend to make money. And give up wasting time. Wasting time on your phone, on computer games, on useless stuff. I bet I could free up at least a couple hours a week if I tried not to waste my time. So with that said, where I want to talk about today is, set those goals. Set those goals this week and have them available to see on a daily basis. I don't care if you do it electronically, just find a way to make it happen. With that said, for this week, if you were to ask me what's happening this week, it's kind of a low news week. In fact, if anything, this week are the home builders and the start of the financial bank reports. Wednesday, we have Lennar and KB Homes. I pay attention to both of those because I have DH Horton that I'm invested in. On Friday, JP Morgan and Wells Fargo. They are the bank reports that are going to move our markets. Also this week, if I was to tell you to look at this week, or what would I say looking at this week? It is the inflation. We have the PPI and the CPI numbers this week. So for all intents and purposes, it's going to be a pretty flat week. They both should be in line, so we should be doing pretty good. If we look at our charts for this week, definitely we're still bullish. And of course, we entered the overbought, I don't want to call it a stage, but let's just call it, we call it the overbought mark on the RSI. Doesn't really matter. We still seem to go higher, but look at how long we stayed overbought. Longest ever. In fact, we just hit the record bull market run. On the S&P 500, it usually mirrors. Of course, we are bullish, and dang it, we are overbought on the RSI as well. And then we look at the NASDAQ, and of course, we are bullish and just entered the overbought stage on our chart. For those that aren't seeing it, let me highlight it or circle it for you. When you say, Kevin, what are you looking at for overbought? It's right there. Right there, that's the overbought stage where you're looking at, hey, we're overbought. We've come too far too fast. We normally, if we go ahead and we take a look at last time we get to that overbought, it's right here. We start to level off, have a bit of a pullback. We also touched it right here. Hey, bit of a pullback. Touched it, didn't go into it, but touched it, bit of a pullback. So yes, I'm looking for a bit of a pullback. Probably not till next week, or with earnings season starting, we can look to see some positions really take off. When I say earnings season, I usually have in here, how am I looking to trade? What did I do with it? I must have erased it. So if I look in how am I looking to trade? Yeah, I'm doing great spelling today. Trying to rush through it. I'm paying attention. I started last week on, right, I'm finding out when my stocks have their earnings. Apple, after the market closes on February 1st. Where is it? Outdoor Brands Corp, the old Smith & Wesson. Boy, they're really sucking nuts right now. They're horrible. Estimated on the 1st of March. Bank of America, they are on the 17th before the market opens. So that's going to be next week. Need to get some protection on them. Although I already do have protection, I raised it up here today. Baidu, it looks like the 22nd, its estimated date for February. Citigroup is also next week on the 16th before the market opens. We have D.H. Horton, my home builder. They are on the 31st before the market opens. I'm sorry if you're hearing some of what's happening. I have teenage kids, so they are not professional when it comes to working yet. They might get a real job someday. Who knows? Disney is the first week on the 6th of February. Ford is estimated to be out on the 24th of January. Facebook, this is very interesting because I'm going to have to make some adjustments. It's on the 31st, it looks like. On the 31st after the market closes. That'll be a Tuesday. I've got into, as it's come into my account, I've got into FCX, which is Freeport McMoran. Looks like they are on the 25th before the market opens. We have Altura, they're one of mine that I'm looking to be in. They're estimated on the 31st. I should put in here CarMax. I've got some positions in there. I don't know when those are out. SodaStream is estimated on the 14th, but I'm hoping to be called out of that before we get to it. Visa is on the 2nd. Nope, it's on the 1st of February, but I'm also looking to get called out on some of that. And my Zions Bancorp people are on the 22nd after the market closes. So I'm really just preparing for earnings as we move into our earnings season. So that's what I am looking at doing at this part of the week. I am calling for a 1.5% return for the month of January. I'm just kind of following along with what's been said and what's been in place. As I go through, WD-40 reports on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have Lennar, we have KB Homes, and we have Remax, the real estate agents. So I'm paying attention to those. Delta Airlines on Thursday, and JP Morgan as well as Wells Fargo on Friday. Tuesday reports, nothing to speak of. Wednesday, we have the MBA homeowners. We have the JOLTS report that comes out. We have import. We have export. We have wholesale inventories, which in all honesty, it's okay to be off on that one because we just got done with Christmas. So it's a non-important report. Thursday, initial continuing claims, and we come into our inflation. We have the PPI, we have the core PPI, we have the Treasury budget. And then Friday, really what's going to move Friday could be the CPI, but more often than not, it's going to be retail sales. And retail sales should be awfully good. It's kind of setting us up to have a bullish Friday, because obviously we're going to go after Christmas, where retail sales was probably the highest it's going to be all year long. Business inventories, but that should be a non-issue. Nothing that I noticed overseas that I put down. So I don't have any international reports that I saw that were important. With that said, I was thinking the reason why I don't have any is because I didn't look. So why don't we be smart here? Let's take a quick look and let's see if there are any international reports that I would be taking a peek at. As I look through this week, just taking a quick look. China merchandise trade on Thursday could be one. I wouldn't worry about loans. CPI, that's all today. It's the non-issue about inflation. New won loans, I don't see that yet. Yeah, merchandise trade balance, not a big issue. That's more important in February when they go through their New Year's. Great bit industrial production, There's nothing I see that I would be worrying about. In fact, if anything, the manufacturer's orders from Germany would be more important than happened yesterday, and our market was up, so we're good. Nothing to worry about on an international economic report basis. I'm not doing questions because actually I will do questions. Boys, any questions you have for me over what you heard today? Not really. Not really. All right. Hey, you guys have a good week. I will get this recorded and get this off to you. I should be live next week, next Tuesday. And guys, welcome to the new year. Welcome to 2018. I will send this off via email. If you do have any questions, don't hesitate to send it via email to me. Pleasure to meet with you guys and look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye-bye. Have a great night.